Hi, welcome to Diaries. I'm Tia and this is Michelle. Thank you for joining our channel. We share ways on how to build wealth through real estate. So make sure you subscribe below so that you can hear real stories from real investors working on real deals.
Absolutely. And today's topic is 5 things to know when hiring a property manager. Their role is to actually collect rents, manage all the leasing, do all the maintenance, as well as manage any tenant calls or maintenance requests. So it's good to have a property manager.
Yes, and the first tip for what to look out for with hiring a property manager is availability. You want to make sure that you understand the availability of your property manager. You are hiring this person to be on call for you so that you don't have to just drop everything you're doing when you get that call from a tenant. So you want to understand if they have 24-hour customer service, if they have an online portal potentially so that tenants can go on and submit maintenance requests at any time. And then you also want to make sure they have 24-hour maintenance emergency service so that if something goes awry at 2 o'clock in the morning, you are not the one that's getting that call. So you definitely want to understand their availability.
Absolutely. And number 2, communication and follow-up. So you want to choose a property manager who communicates very well. So let's say you have a problematic property right now. So let's say you have a multifamily building that has a lot of vacancies, or maybe you have a house in which a tenant isn't paying and now you need to evict that person. A weekly phone call or a follow-up with that property manager may be vital at this time as you're getting somebody new to come in and turn this building or this house around. So make sure that to have really good communication with that property manager. And maybe you have a property that's pretty turnkey and it's in good condition, but you just don't want to have to deal with all the phone calls. So then maybe a monthly phone call would be great. But at very minimum, you want to have good communication with that property manager so they can update you on what's going on with your property, and as well as making sure they have great follow-up when it comes to your tenants, maintenance requests, and all of that, so that communication is strong between you and the property manager, as well as the tenants and the property manager.
And number 3, I would say, is maintenance experience. So you want to make sure that they have an experienced, maintenance supervisor on their team. You want to make sure that they have good processes for their maintenance and that they have an extensive list of vendors that they work with, everything from plumbing and electrical and, service professionals that can come out and take care of any issue that comes up at your property. So just make sure that, they have many years of experience with their maintenance, because that's a huge reason to hire a property manager.
Absolutely. And then number 4 is strong marketing and a good leasing system in place. So you want to choose a property manager that has good marketing. Are they taking great photos of your property to advertise on all the platforms so potential tenants who are looking for places to rent can find it? So you want to make sure that they have good marketing so you can push the rents and try to get as much income as you possibly can on your investment properties. You also want to make sure they have good leasing processes in place. Are they doing the appropriate background checks and verifications when it comes to choosing tenants and having them do the full application? Are they available to do showings when we have tenants that want to view the house for rent or view the apartment rent? Are they there to make sure they're able to show the property and promote it and choose quality tenants for you?
And number 5, I would say, is company reputation. You want to make sure that you contact a couple different property management companies before hiring them. And then also make sure you contact a few of their references as well to see how they're treating the owners and the tenants. Because at the end of the day, this property management company has to create that relationship on behalf of you with your tenants. So you want to make sure they're taking care of that as well. And so I would definitely say reputation is huge within the community. So be sure to investigate that and do your due diligence.
Absolutely. And I know you have a good story for the Diaries when it comes to choosing a bad property manager and not following these tips.
Well, and what's so funny is, as a former property manager, you would think that I wouldn't fall into these mistakes, but I definitely did. I basically just thought that everyone treated properties the way that I had treated properties, previously for my investors.
Right.
And I found out that is not the case. I end up purchasing a commercial property out of state, and I did do some due diligence, on the property management company, but it really wasn't enough. They were basically, doing the bare minimum of leasing and collecting rent, which is great, right? But the part that they fell short on was taking care of the tenant. And that really created a lot of issues for me because they were neglecting cleaning the building. They were doing extreme markups on maintenance. They were neglectful with how they responded to the maintenance issues. There was one point where the residents went a couple days without having hot water, which is completely absurd,
right.
And that reflects to your tenants what kind of landlord you are. And I would never want people to feel that way, know? So this is why we're sharing these tips with you, so you don't make these mistakes.
So you can avoid having to deal with that, a property manager horror story. And on the flip side, I actually have plenty of positive stories when it comes to having a property manager. I had a client that owned a five unit, and he owned this for quite some time, and he's known the tenants and built good relationships with tenants, but the tenants were paying extremely low rents, right? And also the client, he had a full-time job. So of course, most of us don't manage properties full-time. We have other careers and other focuses. So the great thing is that once we got a property manager to kind of step in, hard conversations that my client didn't want to have, the property manager took care of it. And so, with each tenant, there were some tenants that stayed despite the rent increase. So the property manager facilitated an increase in the rents that were appropriate market value for those apartments. There are some tenants that stayed, and there were some tenants that decided not to stay and move, and that was fine. And the property manager was able to, get some contractors in to update the units, get them leased up, get the rents up, and because of that property manager, it completely turned it around. And it freed up a bunch of my clients' time to now have more time with his family outside of his job, focus on his main job, and actually start enjoying life. Because sometimes when you don't have a property manager and you have a problematic building, it can really affect the quality of your life, right?
Yes.
So that was a good example as far as using a property manager, because sometimes, if you're the property manager itself, it could be a little too close when dealing with tenants. You want to have someone in between you and the tenant sometimes to make sure that your objective is being met, such as collecting rents and providing good housing.
Yeah, that's absolutely such a great point. You have to have that intermediary. It just makes it so much easier for the owner.
Right.
Like you said, with the hard conversations, because they will come up.
We'll have another video to discuss how to reduce your liability when it comes to real estate investing. But the great thing about property managers is that they're another layer of added liability insurance, that if somebody slips and falls or sues or whatever the case is, the property manager adds a little bit of protection for you in that particular area. So be sure to speak with an attorney to advise you on more details about some of those benefits of hiring a property manager versus you managing yourself. Yeah. And as a thank you for staying towards the end of the video, we do have a bonus tip for you. If you are an investor looking to raise funds to invest in something, consider a property manager. Property managers make great partners sometimes when you're looking to raise capital or add more cash. So if you find a great property you want to invest in, and you want to invest in a portion, and you find a property manager who's willing to also invest a portion in that as well too, you know that property manager has skin in the game. So because that property manager is also an owner and has their money invested into the property as well too, they're going to make sure that everything is on the up and up. They're going to do a great job because they are an owner. So property managers do make great potential investment partners. So keep that in mind as well.
Yes. And if you are looking to get started on your real estate journey of investing, or you're looking to buy or sell, make sure you go to our website, doordiariesre.com, and reach out to us so that we can connect you with a real estate professional and advisor in your area. So definitely check us out on doordiariesre.com.
And be sure to subscribe on a weekly basis so you can continue to get real stories about real investors working on real deals. Thank you.